So I'm excited to take you through something that I'm very passionate about that is so simple and free and easy that any of you can do and implement right away to transform your health. And we've talked about it a little bit in other classes, but this class is specifically geared towards this one tip that will, I can't recommend this anymore to somebody dealing with sleep issues, energy issues, fat loss issues, diabetes issues. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about this one tip will help with your blood pressure and your blood flow and inflammation and your skin. Okay, so this is one tip we're going to go over, and it's so simple, and anybody can do it in a variety of ways. We're going to go through all of that. So I have two questions for you today. One is, what is one free habit that you think would help you every day to decrease and reverse a host of diseases in your body and prevent them from happening at all? Okay, just kind of wrap your mind about what would that look like for you. And then number two, are your shoes making you sick? They both of these questions play in tandem together. So hear me out today and stay tuned, because we're talking about one of the most simple habits you can do every day that's free and easy and that can transform your health. It is grounding and earthing. So before you shut me off because you're like, oh no, this is like that woo-woo voodoo stuff that she's telling me to go put my feet on the earth and that's supposed to solve all my problems. This is backed by more than 20 peer-reviewed studies, many of which I will touch on today. This is not woo-woo voodoo science. This is science, okay? This is not just like hippy dippy trippy stuff. So it's very, very known in the research that touching the earth with your bare feet actually lowers your blood pressure, your swelling, your cortisol, your edema, and a host of other issues that we're going to go over. And it's very well researched that barefooting or earthing or grounding or whatever you want to call it could calm your pain, your constant pain that you're under. And you can check this out. Before you even listen to me, I want you to go to Google and I want you to type in inflammation, grounding, and earthing. And you look at the images in Google Images, and there's going to be images of people that do thermography, which is the heat in your body. Okay, and they take a picture of somebody before they're grounded, and they take a picture of after maybe 20 or 30 minutes of grounding, depending on the study. And you can see the heat, the inflammation, the fire in the body has gone down by sometimes more than half of where it was, just by putting their feet on the earth or on a grounding device. It's that powerful. So today's class will remind you that it's quite possible the reason why you don't feel well, and unlike other mammals they always feel good, you are disconnected from your battery, which is the earth. The earth is like a battery to us, and we'll go into why that is. So it may just be as simple as, it's not anything to do with what you're eating. It's not anything to do with your exercise program. It's everything to do with, when was the last time you touched the earth with your hands or your feet or some part of your body? When was the last time you laid in the grass on a blanket and felt that calm? When was the last time that you walked by a beach on the sandy seashore and felt that, wow, I just love this beach therapy? Okay. When was the last time you floated in a lake or a river and you're like, oh man, I should do this every day? Why is that? Because we're made for that. We're made to touch the earth. There's a reason for that. And there's a reason why when you open the door to your house and your pets dart out to go into the grass and lay out in the sunshine, that they need it too, okay? Earthing and grounding has been scientifically studied over decades to be one of the most essential things we can do for our human bodies. And you hear me talk about, like I did a whole class on our sins against nature. This is one of the sins against nature because we are supposed to be grounded. Traditional humans walked barefoot. Before there were shoes, they just walked on the earth. Or in the days of the Bible days, they wore what I call the little Jesus sandals, the little, leather-soled bottom sandals that were handmade, or maybe it was some sort of jute or grass that they wove into these little shoes that were conductive, and they were grounded all the time. They didn't have these shoes, these thick-soled shoes that we have today, which we're going to talk about. So, and if you think about it, we ground our electronics in our home, but we don't ground ourselves. So when a home, like we're building a house right now, and the company has to come out and ground the home, okay? Because when we plug in our refrigerator or our stove or any devices, there's going to be that little 3-prong port in the wall. There's the 2 top, long things, and there's a little grounded port that's the little center hole on the bottom. That is the grounding port that goes down into the aspect that the electric company grounded the house. So when I plug my refrigerator into that, it makes sure that there's not going to be a power surge that zaps that refrigerator and fries it during some sort of dirty electricity or a thunderstorm or whatever, okay? That's why we have those grounded ports. You have to ground your home because the frequencies that are emitted from stuff that's not grounded can actually, according to the research, can actually interfere with things like aviation and planes flying overhead. That frequency of being ungrounded can affect that. And also it can create explosions in the house. So you want to ground everything, but why don't we ground ourselves? Okay? Because the typical day, let's think about it. If you really agree with me that we've gotten away from the aspect of humans being on the earth, then this will make sense to you, okay? So let's talk about the average adult's life. They get out of bed, they're on a laminate hardwood floor maybe, or maybe they're on some sort of carpet, not grounding, not conductive, they're elevated off the earth, they're walking around. Then they put on their rubber-soled shoes. They get in their car, not grounded. The rubber-soled shoes are not allowing for grounding. Even if they step on their concrete garage floor, they're not grounded. Getting in their car, not grounded. Going to an office, not grounded. They're maybe walking on asphalt, still with rubber-soled shoes, and asphalt is not grounding, so they're never touching the earth. They sit in a chair behind all of this EMF-laden devices and phones and computers, not grounded, dealing with a lot of extra electricity affecting their body, because remember, we are electric beings. Then they leave the office, they get back in the car, they drive home, they go back into their house, and they stay ungrounded as they sleep on a mattress elevated off the floor, never touching the earth, okay? And animals, it's the same way. If you have domesticated cats and dogs that you have inside, no wonder they dart outside. They know the benefit of being on the earth. That's their inherent law of nature. It's the sins against nature where they're stuck inside and they're not allowed to go out, which is why they want to dart out every time you open the door. Okay, now let's think about children, because this is really sad. Kids are inside, they're sleeping on elevated mattresses, not grounded. They're walking in homes that typically aren't concrete floors. There's some sort of flooring on top of that, not grounded. Then they get in a car or a bus and they go to school. Right now, maybe summer camp or something like that, where they're in school or summer school. In school, not grounded, wearing rubber-soled shoes, not touching the earth. Even if they do go outside for recess, they're in those rubber-soled shoes, which are not conductive, and they're going about their day, not touching the earth. Okay? They're getting back in the bus or the car, going back home, sitting inside, maybe watching a device or television or whatever, and then going back into their bed elevated on the ground. When have they touched the earth? Okay, so this is what I want you to start thinking about. A lot of the classes that I do is just to get your mind around, wow, we are kind of backwards from what we should be doing if we really want our health to improve. It's not about the food. That's what I keep saying. You can eat what you want to eat to some degree. I mean, you can have your little, favorite treats if you balance out your nervous system, which we're talking about today. If you balance out your circulation in your body, if you balance out that circadian rhythm, if you touch the earth and balance out your hormones. We're going to talk about how touching the earth actually can reprogram your thyroid to work better, okay? So this is really important. What are the things that we're getting from the earth? These are called electrons, free electrons. Think of it as free energy for your body, okay? Every time you go barefoot on grass, on dirt, on concrete, concrete is grounding too. You don't have to go get your feet dirty if you don't want them to look like mine, because mine are always dirty. Every time you touch the earth with some part of your skin, because your skin is conductive, it's moist, and anything moist that touches the earth, it's going to get free electrons. Electrons are basically free energy to your body. So here's how I want you to understand that. We have a lot of free radicals in our body, and that's what causes damage. When we get like all this static charge from not being grounded, from being in rubber-soled shoes, from being inside all the time, we get like this static charge buildup. No wonder we have a society full of anxiety, by the way, is because you're actually feeling that static charge. But when you go outside and you connect to the earth, those free radicals that are chaotic in your body, and the other word for chaos in your body is inflammation. So that chaos is these little guys, these free radicals that are searching for a mate. They're searching to get married, basically. Let's put it that way. I always like to put it in layman's terms for you. So they're unhappy and they're chaotic and they're like, I need to find a mate. As soon as you touch the earth, that free electron comes into the body via your moist conductive skin, and it pairs with that free radical. Now, the first thing that happens is they found their pair, they found their lobster for life, or they found their mate. So they become an antioxidant. Yeah, you following me here? This is a good thing. You went from a bad free radical to an antioxidant. These electrons become an antioxidant. This is really cool. So stick with me on this, because what they do is they're neutralizing the free radical, and they're becoming this little married couple that when they pair up, they become an antioxidant to our body. Then what do? Well, they either travel directly to the site of inflammation where your body can use them to get rid of more excess free electrons, or your body stores them in extracellular sugar biopolymers. These biopolymers act as reservoirs or storehouses for negative charge. That's a good thing. We want negative charge. We don't want positive charge in your body. We need to connect to the earth regularly, because otherwise these reservoirs run down. We run out of them. Like a reservoir holds things. Think of like a water reservoir in your town. If you run out of water in your town runs out of water. So the more you're grounded, the more you fill up these biopolymers, and they act as those reservoirs or storehouses for that charge to combat the static charge, the positive charge in your body. So think of them like batteries that need a regular charge. These little free radicals are waiting for their little free electron to come in and pair up with, so they can stop wreaking havoc and chaos in your body. So that's how I want you to think of this, is every single time, even for 2 seconds, if you put your feet on the earth, you have just decreased some inflammation, some negative or some negative influences, this positively charged negative influence, these free radicals in your body. Isn't that cool? And it's something anybody can do anywhere at any time, okay? All right, so what about where do they come from? In one word, thunderstorms. Electrons actually fill up on the earth with around 5,000 lightning strikes per minute happening around the world. They're filling up the earth with these electrons. So that's why we need thunderstorms, is we actually get electrons in the earth that then when we walk on the earth, we get them in us. So the electrons on the Earth's surface, they're small particles containing negative charge. They're constantly replenished by lightning or other meteorologic events. The Earth's atmosphere also helps charge up the Earth's surface as well. So the sun, the lightning, all these frequencies coming in, they're building up those electrons in the Earth. And no matter where you are on the Earth, when you touch it, you are getting some of those electrons on your body. Now, if you look at wild animals in nature, they don't get the sicknesses that domesticated animals or humans get, okay? Why is that? Is it because they're always grounded, okay? Is it because when they get sick of some sort, maybe they, get hit by a car, or they develop some, I guess there's like deer that can get different diseases that are usually caused by man because of what we put in our environment. But when they do, they don't eat and they lay on the ground, okay? They're always touching the ground. And that's what helps them. If you ever have had like a feral cat or a wild animal of some sort that you were taking care of, and you see that they're injured, they will find dirt or ground to lay in until they feel better. And we miss out on that. We miss out on the fact that when we're sick, we should actually not be laying on the couch. We should be laying on a blanket in the yard and trying to get those electrons to neutralize all the free radicals in our body. In fact, there's a study on the prevention and the assistance to the immune system during a COVID-19 infection of just grounding and earthing. Okay, you can actually prevent COVID-19, and you can actually help remedy the body from COVID-19 by earthing or grounding. Yeah, so very cool. The earth also, you should know, has a pulse. Okay, everything has frequency. How we understand that is when you have seen an opera singer belt out a tune as loud and as high as she can, and it breaks the glass. That's a frequency. Okay. Or every song that you hear by a bird, that's a frequency that calms your nervous system. It's why you feel so calm. How about the frequency that is heat? Okay, the sun emits frequency, UVA rays, UVB rays, those are frequencies. Blue light is frequency. That's why it affects our nervous system, because we have frequency. So that's why it'll make you, blue light at night will make you crave carbohydrates, because it's raising insulin levels just by the light. Another way to think about it is, how does a cell phone text message get from California, a person there, to a person in Missouri in nanoseconds? That's frequency, okay? They're hitting a tower. There's a signal hitting a tower that hits your phone. So if you can understand frequency, you can understand the pulse of the earth. The earth has a frequency, and it is 7.83 hertz. When your feet or your hands or some part of your body is connected to the earth, your brain waves, your alpha brain waves, which are your calm, happy, good feeling brain waves, are also 7.83 hertz. That's a mystery. And it's no wonder why we feel so good when we're in nature and we go, oh, I got to make more time for this, or I got to get out more hiking, or I got to get to the beach more. You crave that. You crave those alpha brain waves that are only getting that connection when they're touching the earth. So we need to make more time for that. Here's another thing, because I love Chinese medicine. So kidney 1 is an acupuncture point just below the ball of the foot. Now, let me see if I can hold my foot up here. I've got my little sandals on. I'll show you in a little bit, but here's my dirty foot, and right there is kidney 1. If you press on that, that actually, according to acupuncture and Chinese medicine, that is a point that calms your nervous system. It actually calms you down, but it also helps provide more energy flowing through your body. We have energy meridians that help things move through our body. So when you earth that point, when you touch the earth with your foot on that point, the free electrons can travel up through your energy meridians and through your body more quickly. So try it for yourself and see how it feels. The skin also of the feet are very conductive, and therefore when you're touching them specifically with your feet, you're actually getting more electrons than other parts of your body that might be drier. They're very porous, they're very conductive. That's why, like, I recommend people rub magnesium lotion on their feet more so than other parts of your body, because you're really going to absorb that magnesium through all the different receptors in your feet. Okay, the other way to understand this is something in our body. Remember, the mitochondria are very important. Those are our energy factories in virtually every cell of your body. Your brain, your heart, and your reproductive organs, they have the most mitochondria, so that's where we derive a lot of our energy from. But they are supported by something called the electron chain transport. So this is where the electrons that we're talking about, those free electrons, get transported into the mitochondria, and they're no longer free radicals. Now they're this beautiful little electron that can be used to calm things and do good things in your body. Okay, so that is fully supported. You're going to get more energy into the mitochondria, into those little engines in your cells, by getting those electrons to come in and neutralize the free radicals that can damage the mitochondria, really. So instead of chaos, like I said, you get just calm, happy nervous system. Now, how did we get this way? Okay, well, since the 1960s, we've progressively gotten sicker. Now, a lot of people will say, oh, that's from the food system, because now we have GMOs and we have more gluten and we have all this hybridized food and processed food and sugars and high fructose corn syrup. Yes, yes to all of that, okay? We have gotten sicker due to those things. Chemicals in our food, fluoride in our water, I could go on. But is it the food that does the most damage, or is it the rubber-soled shoes that were invented in the 1960s? Because before then, what did we have? If you remember, we had leather-soled shoes. Leather-soled shoes, okay? Leather is an animal byproduct, so it's conductive. When you touch the earth in leather-soled shoes, you are grounded. And that's what I'm wearing. I'm going to show you what those shoes are in a little bit, because that's a way you can ground if you don't like getting dirty feet like me. So, but what we have to go back to is getting out of these rubber-soled, thick tennis shoes all the time. You probably saw me barefoot in the gym a lot. There's a reason for that. The gym had concrete floors. I could stay grounded while I was working out. Now, we probably don't recommend you be grounded if you're lifting heavy weights, or barefoot if you're lifting heavy weights, because you assume the risk of dropping them on your feet. But you can get some shoes that are minimalist shoes that don't have thick soles. You can get shoes that have leather soles. You can get shoes that help you ground because you can put a grounding strap on them. So there's all kinds of ways to get fit in the gym and still be grounded as well. Now, I want to share with you a case study before we get into some of the beauty of the benefits. I have 10 benefits, actually plus one. I'm going to give you a bonus one of how grounding and earthing can help your health. Maybe whatever you're dealing with, you're going to find on this list of like, wow, maybe I do need to do this because this could be the one thing I'm missing. But before we get into that, I want to do a case study here. So I'm going to put a link to where you can go to a website and you can check this out. The pictures are there and everything. But this is really important for you to understand of how powerful grounding is. This is a case study of a 49-year-old female with a dramatic improvement in circulation and significant decrease in pain. So I actually know individuals like this. They're chronically in pain with their head and their neck. Like they hold a lot of tension in their head and their neck. The pain, the inflammation, it interferes so much that it interferes with their daily functions. They can't sleep as well as night. They've tried all these medical and alternative interventions with no relief. And so I really love this study because this was such a simple thing that she was able to do, and it made such a difference in her. So here's what she was complaining of: chronic neck and upper back pain, pain interfering with sleep, lack of sleep because of interfering with that and interfering with daily functioning because she wasn't sleeping. She wasn't able to get stuff done during the day. Restless leg issues, leg achiness during sleep, walking stiff and sore. And then she tried, like I said, all these medical and alternative interventions with poor results. After 4 nights, this was 4 nights of sleeping on a grounding mat. Okay, she didn't sleep outside on the ground, probably could have, but she just was interested in sleeping on something that would keep her grounded. Okay, so she slept on a grounding mat that was plugged into that little grounded port in her outlet in her bedroom. After 4 nights, remember, she had a 67.5% reduction in pain. That's over half of her pain was gone. 42% reduction in lack of sleep interfering with daily function. So almost half her sleep improved. A 28.6 reduction in pain interfering with sleep, so her pain diminished at night, but even with the pain only 28% down, she was still able to sleep way better. And then 75% reduction in leg achiness and restless leg during sleep. 80% reduction. She was almost completely walking without stiffness and soreness. 80%. Okay, so that's phenomenal because some of you listening to this will go, I have some of that. I have chronic neck and back pain. I've got restless leg. I'm not sleeping well. What if you just slept grounded? What if you just went out when you can during your day and put your feet on the earth? What would happen? Even if it was little bits all throughout your day, what would happen? That's what we want to know. So, what are the benefits of being grounded? Let's talk about that because I've got a lot to talk about with you. All right, and then I'll have one bonus way at the end. If you have any questions, don't forget to send me questions. I like to answer them here about grounding and earthing. Okay, number 1, blood and high blood pressure. Blood flow and high blood pressure can be improved. It improves, grounding and earthing improves blood flow and thins out coagulated blood. A 2015 study shows that grounding improved circulation in both the torso and the face, while sham grounding, or like placebo grounding, the people thinking they were grounded, did not. This could be due to the improved autonomic nervous system regulation of circulation, reduced blood viscosity. That means the blood wasn't so viscous. It was thinned out. It was flowing freely. So that is huge because part of the reason why blood flow interferes with so many people, like they're getting Raynaud's syndromes where their fingers are turning white when they get cold and they lose all the circulation, or when they go to have their blood pressure checked, it's elevated because it's not flowing real freely and it gets stuck in those places where they have arterial damage, and so it's getting backed up and there's more pressure on the veins and arteries. So all of that can be reversed by just simply grounding. It showed that grounding improved circulation in both the torso, which is where we house all of our vital organs, and the face, which we'll get to how it actually helps you look good too. Okay, so grounding patients with hypertension, which is high blood pressure, improved A case history series study after 3 months of consistent grounding, each patient grounded for at least 10 hours per day, most of which was done at night while sleeping. Systolic blood pressure decreased by an average of 14.3%. So that's significant in some respects. To get it down enough, like any points going down is good. And there's other ways to get your blood pressure down, including diet and exercise. So imagine if they were doing that, they could potentially be off of their high blood pressure medication. All right, the number 2 benefit is inflammation, okay? Stephen Sinatra, Dr. Stephen Sinatra is somebody I really love his books. I love his research. He wrote a brand new study just now in 2023. Grounding or earthing could be, he says, an anti-inflammatory antidote for modern man. This energetic phenomenon includes the Schumann resonance. Remember I talked about the earth has a pulse, 7.83 hertz. That's called the Schumann resonance. This is an electromagnetic vibration, a pulse, a frequency in the atmosphere, as well as humming on the surface of the earth. The Schumann resonance are not uniform, but vary from moment to moment in a rhythm that affects the motion of electrons in the surface of the earth. Thus, the earth's ground is electronically active and dynamic. So when you touch it, it actually balances out the frequency in your body and is always resonating from moment to moment to calm stressors in your body. So it decreases inflammation. Wow, that's phenomenal. That instead of taking an Advil or ibuprofen all day long, you could just go out and put your feet on the earth several times a day for any length of time and see what happens. Or sleep grounded, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Another study in 2015 showed that multidisciplinary research, that means a lot of different research, has revealed that electrically conductive contact of the human body with the surface of the earth, and I'm reading this from the study, produces intriguing effects on physiology and health. Immune response, all these things relate to inflammation, immune response, wound healing, and prevention and treatment of chronic inflammatory and autoimmune diseases. That means not just inflammation, but if you're dealing with an autoimmune disease, studies are showing that grounding and earthing can actually reverse the autoimmunity of your body. Your body will stop feeling so many effects of those free radicals that are attacking your body, okay? Now, number 3, who doesn't want more brain cognition, less brain fog, more memory, more calming with the brain, less anxiety and tension in the brain? Well, that's the benefit you get with grounding. And you feel that when we talk about, remember, beach therapy? I have a lot of people that are like, oh, I feel so good when I'm at the beach. Is it that you're on vacation, or is it that when you're on vacation, chances are you're doing stuff more in nature and more at the water's edge, or you're spending more time with, like, calming down and being on the earth and things like that. So think about that. How much of your vacations are spent relaxing in a space that allows you to put your bare feet on the earth, or to be in water, or to be on the seashore or something like that? So brain attunement and calming. A study in 2011 called the neuromodulative role of earthing stated that earthing or grounding enables the nervous system to be better adapted to the demands of the organism, that's us, and ambient environment, meaning we respond better to any environment that we're in if we're grounded. It helps restore natural electrical status of the electrical environment of the organism, that's us, so it helps balance our electricity in our body, and thus the nervous system. Okay, so earthing, through its complex action on bioelectrical environment in the electrolyte concentrations, that means it helps our electrolytes actually concentrate in the cells where they need to give us energy. Remember, electrolytes and minerals are like our little spark plugs. It regulates correct functioning of the nervous system. So earthing significantly influences the electrical activity of the brain, because the nervous system and the brain are all connected. So when you calm the nervous system, you calm the brain. And that may be why you think clearly when you're in the shower. You get your best thoughts in the shower. That water is coming up from a well that's in the earth, or the water has somehow come from somewhere that was in maybe a metal piping. Metal is conductive, it's grounding. So generally when it's coming out into you like a plastic shower, what do they call those? A plastic shower casing or whatever, where you're standing and you're not grounded, but the water that's hitting you is, Is that why you like your nice hot shower? Because you actually get your best thoughts in the shower because your brain is attuned and calm and relaxed, okay? Is it why I like washing dishes so much? I hate dishwashers. I like washing dishes because that water is probably grounding me, okay? So, brain attunement and calming. Number 4, fat loss. Yes, grounding can help with fat loss. These little devices, which by the way, I have mine on airplane mode because I don't need it right now, okay? We can do that. I give you permission when you don't have to use it. You don't have to have it constantly pinging to a tower next to you and affecting your health. But these little devices are causing insulin spikes, cortisol spikes, not only the social media aspect, but just the radiation in general, the blue light emitted from them. It's non-native to our body. So a lot of studies are pointing to the fact that these devices may be making us fatter. Okay, I did a whole class on that. You can go back and check out EMF sickness, say that 5 times fast, and see what I'm talking about with that. But the bottom line is when you go ground, when you go earth, you're discharging a lot of that negative, in a sense, positive charge, okay? Negative in the sense of we don't want it, but we want the negative charge coming from the earth that grounds us, okay? And when you do that, a lot of the time that you've spent on devices today, maybe you had to work on a computer like I'm doing right now, or you had to be on your phone, you can mitigate some of that by spending the rest of the day grounded. Maybe it's a grounding mat. Maybe you spend the rest of the time outside. I recommend just getting outside and putting your feet on the earth. There's nothing better than that, okay? You can get devices that help you ground, but why not just do what's free and easy and cheap, okay? Go outside and be on the earth like humans are supposed to. And see what happens. Notice the difference you feel being connected to the earth versus being connected to your cell phone, okay? So don't go out and ground with your cell phone. However, if you have to take a call, it's actually better if you'll walk outside. Now talk either on wired earbuds or a speakerphone. Don't put it up to your head. But it's actually better if you'll walk barefoot and talk while you're on this, because while the charge is coming into your body that's not so great from the device, you're discharging it to the earth. So it's kind of coming right through you, like it's coming in, it's affecting me, I'm getting these free radicals, but I immediately pair them with an electron and I'm neutralizing it, okay? So if you can do that when you have to be on a device, that's actually better for you. Or if you don't want to be barefoot and you're at work or something, put on leather-soled shoes daily and make sure that you can go outside and take a call that way, okay? Maybe you can even get an outside office that's, you know, like a covered patio. So that's something else for another day. All right, so fat loss. The reason why it's going to help with that is because anytime you elevate cortisol, you increase your weight, okay? So anything that stresses the body, like this right here, this EMF radiation is a stressor to the body. Being under fluorescent light, that's a stressor to the body, okay? And just add in our daily stressors of, you know, financial stress or family stress or work stress or whatever. And we're always producing this cortisol and adrenaline, so we have to get that down. And earthing and grounding actually reduces cortisol. Studies have shown that it lowers cortisol and adrenaline. If it's doing that, then it also gives your body a chance to dip into its fat stores for energy. It won't do that if you're under stress, which is why a lot of people undereat and still put weight on, because undereating is a stressor too. It releases cortisol because you have to break down sugar to make the sugar that your body needs that you're not bringing in, okay? So by eating more and actually going on the earth and grounding, you will see fat loss. Bottom line, I see it all the time. The people that I see barefoot in their gardens, barefoot at the water, swimming in the ocean daily, or taking time to be in nature for the majority of their day, they're not obese, they're not heavy, they're actually very fit and trim. And I always think of these two women. These women don't know each other in Hawaii, but I have a bunch of friends in Maui because I've trained there so much. And these two women, one of which, like I just mentioned, she's barefoot in her garden a lot of the time. This woman is so fit. When she's not in her garden, she goes down to the ocean and she swims and just plays around, you know, plays around on the beach, does some stretching, plays in the ocean, surfs a little bit, nothing major, but just spends her time in nature. The other woman is actually like a tour guide in Hawaii, and she is 58 years old and still has a female cycle. She's in the water every day, paddleboarding or or snorkeling with or swimming with dolphins. Like, she takes people on all these amazing excursions. And it's really because she's grounded in the ocean every day that her health is so improved. She has no medications, no sicknesses, no illnesses. Both of them are in extremely good health, good physiques. And one of them is like in her 40s, the other one's in her late 50s. And both of them are some of the healthiest individuals I've ever seen. And so that can be you. You just have to make that part of your day. Nature, water, touching your feet to the earth can be you if you make it so, okay? And fat loss could come a lot easier than having to restrict, and over-exercise. Now, number 5 is PMS pain. Studies have shown that if we're decreasing inflammation, we're also decreasing inflammatory pain during your menstrual cycle. So if you are having cramps or issues with your menstrual cycle, go out and ground. Lay your belly on the earth, or sit yourself down and put your hands and feet on the earth, or lay on a blanket and calm your nervous system with your feet in the grass, okay? That is going to do so much to lower that inflammatory response during your female cycle. Also, doing that regularly, you might start to notice that it's re-regulating your circadian rhythm, your hormones, which a lot of times if you do have PMS, it's because you are estrogen dominant. So if we really want to do a good service, we make it a regular practice of grounding all throughout the month. And that way our monthly cycles start to get a lot less painful and really symptom-free, as they should be. I'm going to do a whole class on periods and menstrual pain and PMS and stuff like that, because our periods at best should be an inconvenience. They should not be painful. There should not be breast tenderness. There should not be migraines and mood swings and all of that. They should be easy breezy, cover girl, okay? Now, number 6, energy and sleep. Yes, sleep there's so many studies of how grounding your body during sleep affects so many other things, but also improves your sleep, which if you're getting better sleep, that improves so many other things. A study back in 2004 had results that indicated that grounding the human body to the earth, earthing, during sleep reduces nighttime levels of cortisol. Remember, we were just talking about cortisol in the fat loss part of the class here. And resynchronizes cortisol hormone secretion more in alignment with the 24-hour circadian rhythm. Why do I keep coming back to that? Because it's so important. Changes were most apparent in females. Okay. Furthermore, subjective reporting indicates that grounding the human body to the earth during sleep improves sleep and reduces pain and stress. Okay. So if you want more energy in the day, wouldn't it stand to reason that improving your sleep at night would give you more energy? And if you need immediate energy, let's say you're having a lull in the afternoon, that 2 p.m. slump. Number 1, that's a cortisol imbalance. Just so you know, your cortisol should rise in the morning and then gently taper off as the day goes on. But in a lot of people, it's spiking too high with coffee and adrenaline and all these things in the morning, and then it's crashing around 2 p.m. But then you get a second wind before bed and you can't go to sleep at 10 or 11 o'clock because you feel like running a marathon. That's a mismatch in your circadian rhythm, okay? So by grounding yourself throughout the day, you can actually re-regulate that, and you can actually get your energy from, if you have that lull in the afternoon, go outside, put your feet on the earth for 5 or 10 minutes, sit there until you start to go, okay, wow, I have more energy now, because you've just neutralized some of those free radicals into free energy in your body, okay? Good things, antioxidants. Number 7 is it improves your mood. A lot of people need this today because there's a lot of cranky people out there when I'm out in society. Okay? So stressful states, including anxiety, panic, depression, and anger, are associated with reduced heart rate variability. What is that? Okay? Heart rate variability refers to a periodic change in the heart rate that occurs not during the beat, but in between the beats in healthy people, but is reduced by excess sympathetic nervous system activity. That's the fight or flight, including stress, okay? So your HRV gets worse under stress, and it should be we need it to get better and better. We need good variability between our beats, okay? So this 2011 study investigated the effects of grounding on heart rate variability, and HRV then can be used as a measure. If it's good, it's a measure of the parasympathetic nervous system, that rest and digest. So grounding the body actually helped reduce the stress because it increased HRV. We want an increase in our HRV, our heart rate variability, because that means between heartbeats we're very variable. We can bump up when we need to. We can come down very quickly when we need to. Okay, so it's just that little range in between beats that helps measure how healthy someone actually is. And grounding improved that heart rate variability to where people under anxiety, panic, depression, and anger could actually regulate their mood better when they were grounded. Cool, huh? So just grounding your body actually helps you manage your mood. Wouldn't that be nice, right? Okay, then thyroid and hormones. So grounding and thyroid function. In this experiment on healthy participants, it was found that grounding during nighttime sleep, here we are again sleeping grounded, increased levels of free T4, that's increasing your inactive thyroid hormone, which is important, but more importantly, thyroid stimulating hormone, which stimulates that action, and reduced levels of free T3, okay? This suggests increased use of T3 and an increased basal metabolic rate with grounding during sleep. That means the body was sucking up that T3 and using it to help repair, regenerate, rejuvenate, wake refreshed, all of the things that we want out of our body, it was doing with the thyroid with grounding, okay? So if you have thyroid issues, you want to be grounded. You want to be grounded during the day and you want to be grounded when you're sleeping, and I'll tell you how to do that in just a minute. Okay, number 9 is injury recovery and muscle performance for workouts. So those of you that are in the gym watching this or listening as you're doing your workout, a new 2019 study, so new-ish, okay, effectiveness of grounded sleeping on recovery after intensive eccentric muscle loading, okay? So triple blind study, this is a really cool placebo-controlled study by the University of Salzburg, Austria. Grounded sleep after intensive eccentric exercise provided the following benefits: faster recovery, decreased levels of markers of muscle damage and inflammation, significantly less pronounced decrease in performance. That means they actually could do their workout better and keep doing it throughout the week and months because they had no decrease in performance or fatigue or DOMS, like delayed onset muscle soreness. All of that was reversed. So just by grounding daily, their workouts improved, their muscle recovery, their injury prevention and recovery improved, okay? And this is one thing that when I have somebody that just is fresh out of surgery, or they have something like a tennis elbow or a tendonitis or something like that, first thing I'm going to recommend them do is ice it, because ice speeds recovery. But I also want their ice in a metal bowl on top of a grounding mat, or outside, icing whatever that area is in a metal tub or a metal bowl with ice or really cold water on the surface of the earth, because you are going to speed recovery so much faster. And this is why athletes take ice baths, and generally they're on a concrete ground floor, like at the basement of whatever their training facility is. And then they're also usually in like a metal tub. So little do they know they're actually grounding. They just might not realize that. But it's very effective at speeding recovery and speeding healing, especially with just tissue damage from workouts too. Okay, so who doesn't want to continue aging? Raise your hand, okay? Number 10 is we're going to slow the aging process by grounding. A brand new study in 2023 states this title: Illnesses in Technologically Advanced Societies Due to Lack of Grounding. Okay, so we are getting illnesses. Remember I talked about in the EMF sickness class, Wi-Fi sickness, Wi-Fi allergies. We've got so much technology around us that we are getting a lot more illnesses and dis-ease in the body due to lack of grounding. And this article proved it. It said it reviewed earthing, a safe therapy that optimizes or balances each person's unique physiological functions and provides relief from the major diseases of the aging population. And it may actually slow the aging process itself. Isn't that kind of cool? So if you don't want to age faster than you are, or you want to slow the process that's happening right now, you need to have your feet on the earth. You need to have your feet in water. You need to have maybe a grounding mat at your house if you can't make it outside, or at your office. And it makes you look good, okay? The blood flow to your face increases, according to a double-blind study with 40 people. It increased blood flow to their face, and they actually had more of that good blood tone, that good, what's the skin tone that I'm looking for. That's the word I was looking for. Their skin tone was elevated. They had more of a vivacious look to their face versus the people, they had 13 people that were unearthed, and none of them had that same glow, if you will, okay? So that was the 10. Now I have a bonus for you because there is so much diabetes now that I couldn't help but bring this one up too. And actually, there's more benefits than just these 10 plus 1 that I'm mentioning, okay? I could have gone on for hours, but I don't have hours. So I'm just telling you the bare bones basics of what you're going to see benefits of when you're outside grounding in nature. All right, for the diabetics out there, or if you know someone who's diabetic, grounding and glucose concentration in non-insulin dependent diabetic patients. This was a study that was done grounding during rest and activity, so both when they were sleeping and when they were active, increased glucose consumption by the cells, meaning the cells uptook that glucose even in a diabetic person, in patients with non-insulin diabetes related issues, okay? So this is phenomenal that you could just increase the way that your cells use glucose by being grounded. Wow. Okay. So then it stands to reason. How long? Well, how long can you go out barefoot? As long as you can. If you only have 30 seconds when the sun comes up in the morning, you're taking a few sips of coffee and you go stand outside, do it. Okay, start with that. Or throughout your day at the office, you wear some flippy floppies or whatever, and when you have a moment, go stand outside in the grass and ground. See what happens for you. Are you going to notice anything the very first day? Maybe you'll sleep better that night. Maybe you won't notice anything. But what if after 4 times of doing it? What if after 30 days of doing it? You won't know until you try. What if after 3 months of doing it? Be consistent and make it a practice, because number one, I can guarantee you're going to see some benefit. Number two, you will actually start to enjoy it, because humans, this is something that's native to the human body. So you're going to start to crave it and you're going to start to enjoy it. And even if you're like, ew, bugs on my feet and dirt, blah. Okay, well then you can get paleo shoes. That's what I wear. And I go out barefoot anyway, because you guys know how dirty my feet are. But these are leather soled shoes, paleo shoes. They're just little strappies on your feet that you can adjust. They're comfortable. I don't ever even notice that they're on my feet. And these are actually, the guy that makes these actually runs ultra marathons in them. It's amazing that he does this in his 60s, by the way. Okay, so these are actually running sandals. You can run in them, you can work out in them, but you can also hike and bike and whatever, and your feet are going to be grounded when you're doing it, okay? So paleoshoes.com, I'll put a link in the comments for that. Now, how often? Just like how long, as often as you can, okay? During the day, in between work, at night when you get home from work, in the morning when you first get up, before you start getting ready for work, try to get this in. If you're retired, where can you put these little leather-soled shoes on and take your dog for a walk? Where can you get out in the sun or in a pool or in the lake or in a river? I love going down to this local river and just finding a little tiny rapid and sitting in that, and the cool water and the rapid around me, the bubbles and stuff like that. It feels so good. And your whole nervous system, you can actually feel it calming down. It's amazing. So a river, a lake, a pool, if it's a concrete-based pool, that's great. If you want to like put the sprinkler on for the kids and let them run around barefoot, it's great for kids to be grounded. Get them out from behind screen time and get them green time and get them grounded. If you want to calm their ADD and their ADHD and their hyperactivity and their bad behavior, they need grounding. They're anxious in their brain, and that causes them not to listen to you, or it causes them to be too distracted to hear what you're saying to them. They're not bad kids. They just need grounded, okay? And they don't need grounding to their bedroom. If you ground your kid, ground them to the outside and say, you're grounded. Go outside and you have to sit in the grass for 30 minutes, okay? You're going to get more response out of your kids doing that than you will putting them in their bedroom, okay? All right, and then how to do it. That's where it comes to the fun part. So obviously, go outside, be barefoot, right? Easy breezy. Or you can get a grounding mat, okay, that plugs in, like I said, to that grounded port in your house. You can get grounding sheets for your bed, grounded pillowcases. I think there's even grounding eye masks now, to where you could like put an eye mask on your eyes. You can get grounding wrist straps to where you're plugged in. Maybe you're reading a book and you just don't want to go outside because it's pouring down rain or something. You can read your book and have the little wrist strap grounded to you that's plugged into the grounded port in your outlet. You can get grounded standing mats where you just stand while you're cooking and you're staying grounded. Okay, there's so many options. I'm going to put a link in the show notes to the company that I recommend, Ultimate Longevity. That's where you'll also find the Earthing documentary by Clint Ober. I really, really, if you do nothing else after this podcast, please watch that documentary called Earthing. It's on YouTube. It's on a variety of other free resources online. When you order from Ultimate Longevity, they'll send you the book Earthing. Sometimes they send you a DVD of the Earthing documentary. So there's no reason to not educate yourself on something that's so native to the human body and so powerful. And how to do it, like I said, you could sleep grounded. You could put it under your desk at work, under your feet while you're working. If you do have to be on multiple devices, at least you're getting that negative energy out and you're getting the negative charge into your body. Remember, it's negative, the static energy that we get from all these devices. That's negative to us, but we want the negative charge from the free electrons, okay? So when you order from the company, they also send you like a little grounding checker. You can plug it into your outlet and make sure that your outlet is grounded, because many of them can be not grounded. So the little light will come on and tell you if it's grounded or not. And that way you can pick an outlet that's grounded and plug into, and then you know it's working. And here's another way you'll know it's working. If you have pets, so I've had clients where they've ordered a grounding mat and they never got to use it because their domesticated animals that were inside would actually lay on the mat every day and hog the mats to where they had to like buy their animal their own mat because the dog or the cat loved it so much. That's how you'll know it's working, because your dog or your cat will let you know. They will lay on that mat because they like that feeling of being grounded. That's why they dart outside the whole time. So how to do it? You can do it inside if you need to, a grounding mat for your bed, grounding mat for your office or for your kitchen if you're staying, wherever you spend the most time. Try to keep yourself grounded. The more you're grounded, the more benefits you're going to get. Then you can go outside. You can put your feet on concrete. You can put your feet on wet grass in the morning when you're walking around and watching the sun come up, like I like for you guys to do. You can make it a date to, after you're done with work, you stop by a local river or the lake and just kind of hang out for a little bit and calm everything down. Leave your device in the car and just kind of let yourself come down from the day. You can Actually, there's even companies that sell grounding mats for your car. Now, they don't completely ground you because obviously you're on rubber tires, but they do get rid of some of that static charge. In fact, I have a trucker client who uses one when she's on the truck so that she can get rid of, because all that bouncing that they do in their big bouncy seats, that's building up static electricity. So she likes to discharge herself. If you don't like these paleo shoes, you can get moccasins, I think there's a company that still puts rubber soles on their moccasins, but the traditional moccasins that are leather bottoms or cowhide or deer hide or whatever, those are conductive. Any sort of animal fabric on your feet. If you go outside and you're like, I don't like my feet to get dirty, you can put on wool socks or cotton socks. You don't want like spandexy socks, because anything that's like polyester or rayon or spandex, that's plastic. Okay, so that's not conductive. So you need like cotton or wool, something that's a natural fiber that's conductive. Okay. Then you can there's companies that make it so easy. You can get grounded walking sticks. You can go paddle boarding with a carbon fiber paddle, because when you're touching it, that's a conductive metal to the water. I love to do that too. So there's lots of ways to get grounded. What you have to do is make time to do it, okay? As often as you can, as long as you can, even if it's just for 30 seconds a day. Try to make it a consistent practice with your health and your longevity if you want to see improvement. What would it feel like to have virtually every supplement known to man at your fingertips, including peptides, vitamins, minerals, electrolytes, even things like bioidentical hormones? And what if you only had to drink water to get them in? I firmly believe in something called frequency. It's not woo-woo, it's what you feel when you touch a rock that's warmed by the sun. It's how your text message gets to your friend's phone thousands of miles away. It travels on frequency. It's lightning in the sky that brings frequency to the earth so we can ground. It's wind, it's brain waves, it's microwaves. Everything in our world has frequency. And now you can write frequencies into your water, since water holds frequencies. And if these supplements have frequencies like everything else does, you can write the supplement into the water and drink it. Listen to a podcast I did with a man named Anton Fedorenko, a leading expert on frequency, and then visit my link in the show notes to this podcast to go to Infopathy and learn more about Infoceuticals, a way to infuse your water with the frequency of any substance or supplement that you want, even things like I mentioned, like peptides, without ever having to spend a penny on them. Check the show notes now for a link to Infopathy and a special discount code just for my listeners.